Hi, welcome in to Running Miles with CHD. I'm your host and coach, Josh. Today we're going to talk about SOX and ROI, best return on investment with exercise. First, I'm going to get started with a motivational speech. This speech is going to be by Rory Vaden. Understanding that you are your highest self by when you are your highest value to others. It's understanding in business when you are selling, there are wins and losses. But when you are serving, there are only wins. And so, if it is true that you are most powerful position to serve the person you once were, then you just have to ask yourself, what challenge have I conquered? What setback have I survived or trumped over? What obstacle have I overcome? And it's not just about that. It's deeper than that. This is what breaks your heart, what makes you cry. What is the thing that you look out in the world and you know, I'm not okay with that. I'm not comfortable with that. I wouldn't live in a world where that crap goes on because I was born to do something about it. Because I believe what breaks your heart for a reason that is God's divine design in your humanity, and you were created to do something about that problem. And so, the calling you feel on your heart, that tug that says, I should share my story. I should get this out more. I should create some videos. I should create some content for this. The calling that you feel on your heart is the result of a signal that's being sent out from someone else. And that person needs you way more. Like, there are people all around the world right now who are seeking and searching and begging and pleading and quite literally on their hands and knees praying to God for answers that you know like the back of your hand because you've been there before. And the only reason you wouldn't share it is because you're scared. You're scared that I am going to say the wrong thing. You're scared I'm going to look stupid. You're scared that someone else is better than you. You're scared you're not going to be the right thing. But fear is so self-centered. And the only feel fear when you're thinking about yourself. But there is no fear when the mission is to serve. It's clear. So stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about the people you're going to help. Go out there and teach everything you know to the person you once were. All right, so today I wanted to talk to you about my long run. So yesterday I ran 18 miles. It was an amazing day. If you could think of the perfect running day, it was it. It was clear skies, a full moon, so it was bright outside. In the dark, usually I get up pretty early to go on these long runs. And it was 66 degrees. What is that in Celsius? Well, I think that is on the top of my head, maybe 18, 17. Maybe 18, 19. But anyways, yeah, it was just perfect weather. It was just beautiful. It's just like, that's why you run. for a moment like that. It was just perfect, man. So the weather's changing, and that's going to be awesome because we got a lot of mileage coming up. So it's just going to be hopefully some awesome weather coming up in the future. And this first half of the schedule has been pretty warm because it's been in midsummer when I started to train over in the United States of America. So yeah, it was pretty hot, but now the weather's changing, which is nice. Anyways, the run I went on, it was pretty awesome. I would say that I did the bread from Costco and the rosemary. It does only have 1 gram of sugar, added sugar to it, and it's unbleached. We gotta say that in America, I guess. And I did the other bread roll, and then I made my own banana bread with no sugar, and it was organic flour, walnuts, raisins, and bananas, and some flour, right, and eggs, and it tasted all right. I doubled the recipe for sodium, and I didn't taste the salt, which was great because I made a loaf the week before to take with me, and that was an epic failure because I added quadruple the sodium, and I was like, no way. But yeah, it tasted like salt. So I had to throw it out, which sucked because it took so much time to make. But it definitely learned that you can't quadruple the sodium in a bread recipe, or it will taste like salt. So, but doubling it, I did not taste any difference. So it went from 500 milligrams of sodium, and then I did 1,000 grams of sodium in a loaf. Kind of scared to triple that to make it 1,500 grams of sodium in one loaf, just because I've been there. But when I did it, I had 3,000 grams of sodium. The last bread that I made, and yeah, that was definitely too much. Now, keep in mind, you're gonna slice it, and each slice would not have that much, So, yeah, so I took that with me. So made some banana bread, and took the rosemary bread from Costco. That was nice. And I mean, I felt incredible. When I got back, I felt like I could keep going. So that's a good feeling to have. But it was a taper one. So the week before I did 28 miles. This week I only did 18 miles. So definitely felt like I had more energy. I could keep going. And I just felt like I had the fuel thing down pretty well. But I think this next long run, I'm going to try to add in some sugar from the tailwind, and try to space it out with maybe a 3-hour where it's like 12 added grams of sugar per hour. I think it's because the tailwind packets that I have like 50 grams of added sugar to it, and they're really big. So just spacing it out, I think, and just trying it I think I'll take my other electrolytes with me as well. And then if the sugar thing's not working out, then switch back to that, and then take the bread, the honey, and the nuts, um, and see how that goes in the peanut butter. So we'll do that. So that's what I've been using so far, and it's been feeling pretty good. So just doing the bread on the hour. So I usually just do the bread on the hour and every hour. And I gotta watch so I can see when the hour is coming. And just been walking and eating, and then let it digest a little bit. Sometimes it looks to me like it takes me about 5 minutes to eat on the hour every hour. Except for when I get to the aid station, I have to stand still to fill up water and stuff like that, and maybe use the bathroom if I need to use the bathroom. But surprisingly enough, I didn't have to go to the bathroom this run, so that was good. And I started eating earlier, so that worked out pretty well. I was able to finish the banana. I usually eat a banana every 2 hours on my long runs, just because they're kind of heavy. And I mean, when you start running for 8 hours, then you would have to take 8 bananas with you if you're going to eat a banana on the hour every hour. And that stuff is heavy. And then these bananas, they like to start rotting because the heat that you're producing off of your body makes these bananas like get rotten. And then, it ruins your bag as well. Anyways, yeah. So I kind of just do the banana every 2 hours. And that's working. And I try to find green bananas in the supermarket, because I know once I put them on my back, and the heat that I'm radiating is going to turn those bananas really quick into a yellow banana, or even a brown banana. So yeah, so this next long run is going to be 32 miles, so I'm going to have to take like 4 bananas with me, versus 7, which is good. But I'll eat a slice of bread on the hour every hour, and then do the honey. 2 tablespoons of honey is like 27 grams of sugar, which I like to round up, so let's just say 30. It's just easier if you just round up things. So I think each bread slice has like 30, and then your honey's 30, so then you're at 60, right? And you add some tailwind, that's going to get you at 50. I mean, wait, 70. I'm sorry. So you can round up, round down. Obviously, the tailwind's probably more at like 13 if you split it within 3 hours. So you're kind of there. Definitely want to try to get to 90 grams of carbohydrates per hour. So it's definitely hard to do, but it is doable. I'm getting there. Each training session, I guess. But yeah. So just be mindful of what you're putting in your body, and I guess it does. If you're a person for time, and you are trying to beat somebody, or you're trying to beat yourself, then I guess you want to just do liquids. Because for me, I can't run neat. I have to be walking and eating. And maybe you're different, but I mean, I almost think that like you're training for like doing this 100 is like, you're like, how do I say it? You're like training for like a eating marathon and like a running marathon. It's like learning to eat while you're running. And that's basically it, man. If you can get it down, then the running is pretty good. I mean, God, I think the weather was so nice and that the running was so, I had the eating stuff down pretty well that yeah, it was nice. Now, I don't know what I'm going to say about next week where it's 32 miles. I'm sure I'll be in some pain for sure on that. But so far it's been good, and knock on wood, I haven't had any injuries yet, which is great. Usually I'm very injury prone, but my hips have been hurting. Not so much where I'm limping or anything. I just feel the pain, in a sense. Like it's a small pain. It's not anything that's like really, really, really painful, but I just feel it. Like it's there. It lingers. So I'm going to have to start stretching my hips, I think. I don't do any stretching, and I'm probably going to have to start stretching my hips. So I'm probably going to have to start waking up earlier so I can get in that 5-10 minutes of hip stretches so I can try to overcome this injury that's trying to plague me. And I won't let it happen. Got to be strong. So try to look up some hip flexors, so hip stretches, and see if that helps. And see if I can get this pain to go away a little bit. Because I know that if it was kind of coming up on miles 16, 17, 18. So it's just a really small, pain, but I can see it really getting developed there, and the higher mileage when they come up, which is coming up pretty quickly. So but I did want to talk about my schedule. You can find my schedule on my Facebook page at Running Mouths CHD, and it's there. You can take a look at it. With the schedule, everybody's schedule is different, and everybody's life is unique, and there's not one schedule that's better than the other. There's not one schedule that's going to get you up through the finish line. Everything needs to be tailored to you and your schedule and your life. What you can do, what schedule could work for you. So that's why it's really important. If you wanted to reach out, we could talk about your life and help you create a schedule for that. But anyways, for my schedule, just discuss my schedule real quick. It was created so that I don't have an injury at the starting line. And that's why it was created the way it was. And maybe I was a little bit scared from past experiences. But I kind of went the lowest of any schedule that I ever witnessed or I ever seen of the 100-miler with the long run. So I think the longest, I've said this before, but my longest, I guess I tweaked it a little bit, is going to be 36 miles. And I wanted to discuss real quick that with the schedule, I'm going from 28 to 32, which is a 4-mile difference. Ever since, before this, it's been 2 miles every week. I've gone up 2 miles every week, which has been 10%. And usually you want to do 10%. But this next one's going to be 12% difference in the running. And I don't do well with the odd numbers. I don't want to do odd numbers, just kind of like a pet peeve. So I guess I could do 31 miles, but just want to keep the odd number thing going. So I'll do 32, and it's going to get me at 12%. And then I'll do the same thing next week, where it'll be 36. So when you get to higher mileage, then you can go up a little bit more than you have been in the previous weeks, right? So that's pretty much what I'm doing. And so going up by 4 miles instead of 2 miles in these later weeks. And then hopefully I won't get injured. I mean, it's just a small amount. So, and hopefully I'll be able to accomplish it with not about to die, I guess, in a sense. So yeah, with the schedule, everybody's unique, everybody's different, and there's no right or wrong schedule. I mean, I believe, running is so mental that if you believe your schedule is great and you complete your schedule and you believe that you can cross the finish line and you've meditated, you've been racing those races and you've crossed the finish line and you know what you're going to do when you're feeling like you're about to quit, and you know that you're not going to quit and you're going to do your best and you're going to keep going, you're going to keep moving and you're not going to stop, then you're going to cross that finish line. If you have that positive mindset and there's no other option than to cross the finish line, then you can do it. I think no matter what your schedule is. There is, I don't know, man. It is strange. But there is some people that try to run some races without any training. I think you have to have some training. That's part of the mental toughness, is getting through the training and doing some training that maybe you don't want to do. But you definitely also want to enjoy that the journey on the training. If you don't like the process, it's all about the process. So you got to learn to love the process. And I'll tell you, it was a really nice day yesterday. Just beautiful to be alive and to be well. Anyways, I had my heart appointment, and I was telling the cardiologist about shortness of breath and discussing a little bit about diet and how 4 eggs kind of impact me, and the high fat has plagued me a little bit when going up hills and stuff, and how I feel short breathed with the saturated fat. I feel shortness of breath if I have too much, and if I had too many eggs, I can feel shortness of breath, and maybe that's because of the high cholesterol, or I'm not sure, but I just know that's the reason, the cause, because if I drop down to 2 eggs like I don't have any problems, right? So anyways, he says that with my heart, a normal heart would have 4 vessels going to it. I don't know if that's the right terminology. Anyways, a regular heart has 4. What happened to me in surgery is they combined 2 of those into 1. So I have 3. So I have 2 coming in and 1 going out, instead of 2 coming in and 2 going out. So what that does is it can have an effect on my oxygen because it can't pump all that blood back out as quickly as it's pumping in, if that makes sense to some of the listeners. So he says that's probably why I get shortness, out of breath. He's kind of confused about the food thing I was telling you about. But I just kind of trying to share my story in a sense. So if anybody else has a problem, if you do have, CHD, then anyways, that's how my heart is right now, I guess. So just have the two vessels of blood pumping in, and then just have one cord pumping out because they interlocked. They brought two of those together and created just one, if that makes sense. So anyways, yeah, I've been going uphill pretty good lately. I go uphill. I don't know what the incline is on top of my head. I'd like to say it's like 15 or 20% incline. Just by going off like my experience on a treadmill and trying to relate it to the hill that I'm going up. That's what I could say. It's about a mile long, and I've been able to go on it since I cut out the eggs to just 2 eggs per day. I've been able to go up that hill without having to catch my breath or anything, which is pretty good. And obviously I'm going slow up the hill, so like 14 minutes per mile up the hill, which if I was to walk, then it would be like 20, right? So it's definitely better to run, I guess, in time wise. But it's been going pretty good out lately, and yeah. So that's just kind of like the update with the cardiologist, and yeah, hope that gets to help somebody out, I guess. Just try to let you know my symptoms and how I feel with this heart of mine, I guess. So wanted to talk to you guys about socks. So when I was injured is where I really dove into socks in a sense, because the top of my foot was hurting and much pain, and a lot of socks are compression socks, and what will happen is I feel like they compress and they don't let the blood flow through the foot as efficient, I guess, with compression socks. And I guess I'm not a physical therapist, but one could imagine that maybe you need blood to circulate as quickly as you can through the foot. So having a sock that's not as compressed might help with that. Anyways, I was on a mission to find a sock that wouldn't hurt my foot because of my injury. It was very sensitive to the top of my foot, and I would find myself walking around with no socks most of the time because any socks that I found would be too tight. And I even bought socks for diabetics. They're supposed to be extra loose. And I found those socks to be even tight as well. I think part of the problem is I have a very wide foot, which doesn't help. So I always buy a size up on the sock because of the wide foot. So yeah, that's just my experience with socks so far. But I also had the problem with my toe kind of going over another toe, but not so much like really over it. It was just kind of rubbing against it. So I found that you could buy these silicone spacers that you could put on your toes. But they would be really uncomfortable. But they would do the job where the toe would no longer rub the other toe. Um, but they would be very uncomfortable. So I would say with socks, you know, you definitely don't want to get a cotton sock. Even though, you know, you're thinking, okay, I'm running during the winter and it's really cold outside. That's why I want a cotton sock. Which, if it's really, really cold, maybe get a cotton sock. But I would say you could get a wool, get a sock made out of wool, if it's in the winter. You know, but be very mindful of what the sock is made out of when buying the sock. But the best sock that works for me in my foot was the 5-toe sock. That seems to work really nice. And the ones that I get, I buy the size up, and they're not really tight. I'll go to the website and tell you what the sock says on what it's made out of. And it seems to be working very well. You know, I haven't sustained an injury. I do find that they do get pretty wet sometimes when I'm sweating so much and it's really, really hot outside. So I don't think it's a bad idea to change your socks if it's going to be a really, really hot race during the race. You know, you get drop bags when you're doing ultras, and you could always put in, you know, some socks in your drop bag and then change out your socks if you're racing in the heat. But so the ones that I've been using that seem to be working very well are from a brand called Aonijie. Not even sure if that's how you say it, but it's spelled Aonijie. And they're just like $10 per sock pair of the 5-toe socks. And they're made out of Cool Max nylon. And the Cool Max is like a polyester. So 34% polyester, 64% nylon, and then 2% of spandex, which is spandex is the how tightness is, you know, on the foot. So that's really low, you know, 2%. And so these socks have been working very well because they're not so tight. But I don't find them like that loose. You know, they just fit really nice. There's a lot of socks out there with the 5 toes these days. And some, just one pair can range you like $20, $30 for one pair of sock. So they can get pretty expensive. But these ones seem to do the job. And they you get 3 pairs for like $25. So, you know, it's even under $10 per pair. You're looking at maybe $8. So I think it's a pretty good value. Looking at other companies out there, but they definitely do the job. And I've been wearing them for the 100 at least, and it's just been working very nicely. And like I said, I haven't had any problems with the toes or anything. And I don't get calluses or those problems with the foot. So running so far these days, they've been doing pretty well. So those are some socks that I definitely would recommend, and maybe you're trying. Now, they do look funny. People do kind of give you those looks like, what you wearing? And they kind of look freaky at first, you know. You kind of get used to them wearing the 5-toe socks. And they take more time to put on. And be mindful of, if you buy the same color or the same pair, it's going to be hard to, you just want to be mindful of when you're folding the clothes, that you get the 2 different socks together, because your feet are different, right? So you have 2 different socks because one foot is different from the other. So if you get, I would recommend getting different colors, just because if you get the same color, then it's just hard to put the socks together. And I can just imagine if somebody is in a race and they're going to their drop bag and they're getting some socks, right, to change out because their socks are so sweaty, and they're putting on their socks, and then they find out that they have a left foot and a left foot sock, that's not going to go well, right? So definitely make sure that you get 2 different pairs of socks for your drop bag that fit the 2 different feet that you have, and then you shouldn't have a problem. But that's kind of like the bad thing about the socks, is you have to just be more mindful of the socks being different, and you don't want to put 2 left socks together or 2 right socks together. You want to have a left and a right sock when you fold your clothes or whatnot. So my recommendation is to make sure that you get different colors, because if you get the same color, you definitely have to look at it and make sure that it's a left and a right when you're putting them together. Fortunately, I've never had that problem. I've always been mindful of that. So just passing on the word there, just in case somebody has that problem. So but yeah, there's lots of different options for the toe socks, but just be mindful that you're not getting cotton socks, and make sure that you're looking at what you're buying, and making sure that you look at what it's made out of. So yeah, since I'm doing kind of like an October race or a training during the summer, I'm not going to go too much into detail of winter socks, because I'm not doing a winter race, and I haven't really researched too much on that. But I would say a wool is a great fabric to use in a sock if you're doing a winter race, or you're running during the winter months of where you live. So I think that concludes the sock. So ROI, return on investment, I would say, with your workout routine, is, for me, I've always done like 30 minutes of working out, like, focused on it, doing it hard, not being distracted. Like some people can go to, I guess, a gym or be on their phone or be doing other things or thinking about other things. Um, and, you work out 30 minutes, but you're there an hour. So it's just, I think ROI, just being focused on when you're going to work out. And you don't really need to have that much time in the gym to lift weights. Research suggests anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes is going to be your best ROI in the gym when you're lifting weights and doing those kind of things. And then it kind of tapers off once you get past, the 40 minutes. Then there's not much improvement in health benefits for working out. So if you're thinking of ROI, I kind of, take the 20 minutes to the 40 minutes and then kind of meet in the middle. And so that's why I kind of do 30 minutes. But I mean, anybody can do 30 minutes, right, of non-stop intense workout. It's not that long. You just got to get super focused when you're getting into the workout, and leave your phone behind and just focus on what you're doing. Just 30 minutes, and you'll definitely get the best return on investment. Now, there's nothing wrong with working out for 2 hours for nonstop if that's what you want, but I guess the experts say that your best benefits for working out is anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes. And so I've always tried to do 30 minutes of exercise per day, because in my mind, I believe it's like medicine, right? And or like brushing your teeth. I like that analogy. But I mean, there's so many chemicals in the brain that release, when you work out, that it is like medicine, right? And if we treat working out like medicine, right, and you're working out, why would you skip a workout? Or why would you skip a day? I mean, if it is your medicine, right? I mean, think of it this way. If you're taking a medication, do you stop taking the medication one day or 2 days out of the week? You just skip it. You don't take it that day. Usually when you take your medication, you take it every day. So why would you not take your workout medication per day? So, but if you can make it doable and you can make it easy, not so much easy, but manage it, put it down to 20 minutes or 30 minutes, then it's definitely doable, and then you'll be able to get your medicine, right? Just like the analogy of brushing your teeth, I like, some people don't take showers every day, so I can't really use that analogy, but if you're brushing your teeth, we all brush our teeth every day, and sometimes twice a day or 3 times a day. So kind of good analogy, I think, working out to be like brushing your teeth, or like taking medication, because it is kind of like medication with all the different chemicals that it can release in the brain. So yeah, but I would say your best ROI, return on investment, right? You're investing in yourself and your health, right? Let's put it this way, when you're gonna start at a declining, right? When you're 70, 80, 90, 60, where do you want to start declining from, right? Do you want to start from an 8? Do you want to start from a 4, right? So you're going to start declining at an 8. Well, then you're going to be able to do more stuff when you're 70, 80. But if you start to decline at a 4 when you're 70, then it's going to be harder to do stuff when you're 80, right? So basically, that's what we're trying to get to, is take care of yourself with exercise. And I remember running a marathon, and the guy said that that only like 1% of marathons run a second one. And I don't know if that statistic is true. I definitely need to do some research on that, because that just seems wild to me. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's true anymore. I mean, I see a lot of people be running these things. But yeah, that was kind of strange for me to think about, that only one, or he might have said only 2% of marathons run a second one. So I mean, I hope whatever happens, you get an injury, or you get a knee, or you hurt your ankle and you can't walk as well. Hopefully you can still get to the gym and do your 20-30 minutes of exercise every day. If you're not running, a 5K or a marathon, or a half marathon, or an ultra, you still need to be able to find a way to work out. And there's all kinds of different ways to work out, So, but yeah, I thought that was a strange statistic. But they are hard, so I get it. Running a marathon is really, really, really hard. And it takes a lot of discipline, and takes a lot of learning and focus. So definitely really hard. So I can see why somebody doesn't want to run a second one. Because you would always think that running a second marathon or a third would be easier, right? And in a sense, it kind of is a little easier because you have experience. But sometimes that experience can get in the way, where you think, I don't need to do this because I've done it before. Or it can be hard to get motivated for a second or a third one. But it's you got to get focused, and even your second or third marathon, you have to be focused and treat it with respect, because if you don't, you're going to be hurting. So I'd say each race that you do is hard, and you got to overcome your mind when you're racing any race, whether it's a 50K, 100K, any distance. You have to be focused, and you have to be ready to conquer it. So, but I appreciate you guys listening. I'm gonna put the show notes. I'm gonna put the sock that are the company that I used to buy the socks in the show notes, and then I'll put some other companies socks in the show notes of some that I've used in the past, and you can take a look. But there's lots of companies that use the 5-toe sock. They're just are more expensive, so that's why I haven't used them yet. But I appreciate you guys listening to this episode, and I hope it can help you on your journey. And if you want to get a schedule, or you need any help, you can always reach out to me at runningmileschd@gmail.com, and be happy to connect with you. Thanks for listening.